You'll check the date, 13th of August. I'm Catherine, the Resource Centre Manager, and Aisha, our wonderful cook, has allowed me into her kitchen just for a little bit so I can introduce today. So today we are going to be making yeast-free pizza in a moment. Found a recipe that looks nice and easy, but we are all trying it out together, so we'll let you know what it tastes like at the end. Afterwards, we're going to be talking about our favourite movies, and I've got Anna and Jennifer, our outreach officers, and they're going to be talking a bit about their favourite movies. Feel free to chip in at any point, and I'm sure we will settle today the debate about whether or not you should have pineapple on pizza. I don't mind, but I know some of you feel very seriously one way or another. So, just welcome again to everyone who has arrived. Welcome to Croydon Vision, and I am going to hand you over to Aisha, who is going to be in charge in the next bit.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for watching. Today, as Kathleen told you already, we're going to do a no-yeast pizza. And we're going to go through the ingredients, which are 350 grams of flour, 1.5 teaspoon of baking powder or baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of oil, and that's what you need for the dough. And then the topping is optional. We'll let you know more about the topping when we finish the dough. So I'm going to measure my flour, 350 grams to be precise.
So what are you using to measure your flour this time, Aisha?
I'm using plain flour.
And are you using our scales from the Resource Centre?
Yes, I am, the talking scale. So I'm going to measure the flour now, which is 350 grams.
Oh, 250 did you say, so a little bit more.
315 grams. It is 356 grams.
So I'm going to take out a little bit because it's outgone.
It is 352 grams. It is 350 grams.
So we've got 350 grams of plain flour. So I'm just gonna put it in the bowl like that. I'm gonna put the scale aside. And now let's get on with the ingredient. The recipe.
So what do we have to add next?
Next, I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoon of baking soda or baking powder.
And that was to our 350 grams of plain flour?
350 grams, yeah, of plain flour.
And are you using a special measuring spoon, or are you just using a teaspoon out of the drawer?
Normal teaspoon, not special, that's one. So I just half of those.
Just
So
any
that's the
baking powder and the
baking
flour.
powder gone in there. 1.5 teaspoon. And next is 1 teaspoon of salt. Sounds a lot, but
We'll see, I think. I'm sure once you've made this recipe once, you might want to, you can adjust it any way you want to.
And then next, 1 tablespoon of oil. The oil is optional. You can use any oil. I'm using olive oil. Yeah? Normal olive oil.
But you could use
vegetable oil, sunflower oil.
Palm oil?
Well, I'm not sure about that, I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
I'm just listing oils.
Yeah, normal, yeah, oil. So 1 tablespoon of olive oil I'm using.
And we just popped this in the bowl for the moment, haven't we? We haven't worried about laying it out anywhere
No.
special.
So I've just done everything. Now I'm gonna use, I'm gonna mix it together like that.
And so just a rough mix with a wooden
Yeah,
spoon, you're not
rough
being too
mix
careful,
like
are you?
that. I'm using a wooden spoon, you can use whatever spoon that you have. And I'm gonna add 170 milliliter of water, plain water, cold.
And because you're nice and organised, you've already got it in a measuring jug.
So what I'm gonna do at this point, I'm gonna put a little bit at a time, probably put half of that. So that will be like one.
And it's just water straight from the tap, isn't it? It
Yeah,
hasn't been...
water straight from the tap, or if you want to use bottled water, that's fine. So I'm gonna use half of this,
Yeah?
and then I mix it.
And just stirring around, are
Staying
you?
with the wooden spoon for now, but I'm gonna end up using my hands, my 10 fingers.
Is that because your 10 fingers give you more feedback?
Yes, yeah, so it does it better. Put a little bit more.
I'm just typing to some of our members.
Okay. Just trying to mix it. At this point, I might.
Oh, it's got a little bit sticky now. It's sort of all drawing together a bit, not as easy to move around.
No, it's all over the place at the moment. So let me just add a little bit more, and then I'll start using my hands.
So when you start using your hands, what are you looking? What sort of movement are you going to make?
A dough.
You're going to make a dough.
Yeah, try to make a dough. So it will all come together as a big ball. If it's too stiff, you just add a little bit more water.
What if you've added too much water?
Well, then you just have to increase the flour.
So too much water, add some flour.
Yes.
Too much flour, add some water.
You can always add, but you cannot take out. That's the problem. So that's why it's best to put.
It looks like it's all sort of starting to come together there nicely. Do you have any hints on bringing it together?
Just keep kneading it using your hands. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to transfer it to the chopping board,
So,
or you can use a flat surface.
so what's the perfect consistency? Is it a little bit sticky to your fingers?
Yeah, a little bit sticky, and you can see that it's getting hard now too. So you need all your manpower to do this.
Or woman power.
Yeah.
Whatever power you're going to use.
Sorry. Okay, I'm going to use a chopping board.
So we're going to get all your hints and tricks on how to knead.
I'm sweating already.
We've had to close all of the doors in here today. So you're doing really well, Aisha, because it's still a very warm day, but we didn't want to let the rain in because it's got a little bit
So yeah, I need to put
more than we expected.
underneath so it doesn't, so it stops the board
Yep.
from moving.
Aisha's magic trick for no moving
Yeah, that's it.
chopping boards, use a tea towel.
Yeah, that's it. So you can see it's a little bit sticky now, like
So it's slightly sticking to your fingers but coming off quite nicely,
Yeah.
not sticking to your
Not
fingers
sticky,
and
that
being
doesn't come
unable
off.
to.
yeah. So at this point you don't need any more water, you just know that, yeah.
And you didn't use quite all of your 170 millilitres.
No, because it's small, so my hands are big, so.
So have
But
you
you can use your two hands, 10 fingers, it's better than 5, I suppose.
what are your tricks for kneading? What's the best way of kneading really well?
you just like, when I knead, I just like push it down with my
The heel of your hand.
Yeah, yeah, like that. See?
And it's sort of a smooth motion.
Yeah.
You're pushing your heel of your hand down and then lifting up and repositioning, so
Yeah.
you're
That's
always
it.
needing a slightly different bit.
Yeah.
Just going to tilt down a little bit if I can, because I think we're missing some of the kneading. There we are.
It's almost there.
Oh, brilliant. So how do you know it's almost there?
Well, how do you know? You can see that it's like, it stops sticking.
Mm-hmm.
And you think,
Oh, don't worry, that's just the scales turning themselves off.
Yeah, it stops sticking on your hand.
Ah.
So, yeah.
So you knead until it stops sticking on your hand and it forms a nice ball
Yeah,
without being overly sticky and...
yeah, that's it.
And because this is yeast-free pizza, we now get to go on to the next step when you're ready, rather than having to pop it aside and let it
so
grow.
The next step is just to start your portioning. This you can do for 2 people, like you can cut it in half. But because I'm doing mini pizza, so probably I'll get about maybe 8 little pizzas in this dough.
That's because Aisha's treating all of us to a pizza.
Yeah, so I'll do 8 mini pizzas in this. Well, usually it should be 2.
But it all depends on the size of the pizza you want, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's up to you. You can do 4, you can do 6, even 10, depends on how small you want them.
I suppose you could go even smaller if you want the bite size.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut it, I'm going to use some flour to just to stop it from sticking, because I'm going to need the rolling pin.
I can see in the background Aisha's done a bit of prep for later. Ooh,
Yeah,
that is a
so-
very large rolling pin. Do you have to have such a large rolling pin?
Yeah. Nice rolling pin. I'm going to put this aside now. Right, so what I'll do at this point, I'll bring the grease-proof.
So it's a tray with some greaseproof paper in it.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming that's so that you've got a lot easier time cleaning up afterwards.
Yes.
So it sticks to the greaseproof, not the tray.
So at this point, I'm gonna like cut it in half.
Yeah.
I wanna get four pizzas from this. But like I said before, I wanna do 8. So I'll just try to portion it into.
So you're getting it into 4 equal-ish
Yeah.
bits. We're not using our scales to make sure they're all
we're
equal
not.
like
We
they do on the
just,
bake-off.
Portion it to whatever size you want. So I want 8 from this. So I think
They're
this is
roughly the same.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'll just roll on the plate. So I can have more space. I can just move this.
So just popping
aside.
the extra dough, the half that we haven't dealt with yet, off to one
Yeah.
side.
So I'm just going to roll it an inch thick.
What's that for those of us who use new money? I think that's about 2.5 centimetres if you're using new money.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's so easy. You don't even need much force to do it.
Exactly, it's nice and soft. And you're not going for a perfect circle, you're going for a rustic circle.
Yeah, that's it. As you can see, I'll just put them like that. I don't know if I can fit 8 in there, but I'll try.
Well, might have to be 4.
Yeah, probably I'll do 4 in each. I'll need to do another tray.
And we're having a big argument in the comments over here about pineapple on pizza. What is your view, Aisha? Are you a pineapple or not a pineapple?
No.
I've got Anna and Jennifer behind me. What are your views on pineapple? Yes or no?
Yes. No.
So we're split here as well. I think it is very, very, it depends on how you feel.
Yes. So I'm just rolling it out. Just an inch thick.
It's nice
So
mini
easy.
pizzas.
Yeah, so easy. So you don't need to wait for an hour for it to rise. You can even do it as soon as you go home.
Yeah.
Dinner.
And because it doesn't have yeast in, it's not affected by the temperature.
Yeah.
It's also not affected by humidity, which today it is being lovely and humid, and yeast isn't always a big fan of that.
Mhm. So there you go.
And one more.
One more. This one, I'm gonna space them out because I do the rest in the other. Yeah.
So we're not worrying about making any crusts, we're just making our nice circles at the moment.
Mhm.
Well, circle-ish shapes. We'll just keep rotating. So you're rotating it as you roll as well, so it doesn't stick.
It doesn't stick. Yeah.
And
So
you're
it's-
not putting too much pressure on it.
No, so easy to do. Honestly. Right. So that's the 4. So I can do the topping for this now. Put it in the oven and then do the other one. So the topping.
What toppings have we got, Aisha? I'm
Right,
excited.
today-
No pineapple.
No pineapple, definitely not. Right, today I've got topping. I've got basil,
Ooh.
mozzarella cheese,
Mhm.
grated. I mean, you can buy the ball as well,
Yeah.
and then just slice it, put it on top. I've got sun-dried tomatoes,
Oh, we're having fancy mini pizzas if there are sun-dried tomatoes on
and
them.
then for the base, I've just got chopped tomato, plain chopped tomatoes,
Mhm.
and then I'll just put them on top, and then.
So this is where I go. I'm sure that Aisha, you're going to be using mixed herbs somewhere because you haven't yet.
No, not
No
today.
mixed herbs
Not
today.
today because I've got the basil. Yeah, not today. So I'm just gonna put the.
So I know you could use a mixture of tomato puree, or you
Yes,
can get
you can.
pizza topping if you want to make it
Pizza
easier.
topping, yeah.
But it's just the same if you put the fresh tomatoes don't have the additives in them, or the tinned chopped tomatoes. So you don't have to cook them as well.
Yeah.
As just sort of a spoonful covering most of the circle, but leaving the edges a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
And again, this is your pizza, so it doesn't have to look perfect.
No,
It's just rustic.
Homemade. Homemade doesn't have to look perfect, really. So that's how you know rough at the edges.
Rustic! You can charge more if it's rustic. Oh no, we'll call them artisan pizzas. You can charge lots more for that.
Okay. Right.
Ooh, here's a question, Aisha.
Yes.
Do you have any recommendations on where to purchase the best mozzarella?
Any good supermarket? There are most of them because I got this one from Tesco's.
But other
Or you can get
supermarkets
it
are
from any
available.
shops, yeah. Or
Is there
the-
any specific brand of mozzarella that might be better than others? Do you know? You can say no.
No, I think they're all the same.
And of course, if you are vegan, you can use vegan cheese. Just be aware it melts slightly differently to mozzarella.
Yeah. So now I'm going to put the mozzarella.
So we've popped our layer of tomatoes, and we're going to do a sprinkling of mozzarella, or a generous handful of mozzarella.
Generous handful.
Generous handful of mozzarella.
Because they're small, I'll put some and then put the sun-dried tomatoes and then a bit of basil. However you want to do it, it's your pizza. Yeah, how you want to do the topping. That's fine. I've already preheated the oven.
So
to
what temperature is our oven preheated to?
200 degrees. So, I don't know what that is. Is it 180 in Fahrenheit?
I don't know how to convert to Fahrenheit
Where the two preheat.
or to gas mark.
Gas mark.
So we got it.
180 gas mark.
But if you know how to convert, please do let us know as well. So here's another question to our members watching. Would you tend to have your ingredients on top of or underneath your cheese, or a mixture of both? Are you just tearing up the basil leaves a little bit to make them
a mixture of both? Because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a bit of sun-dried tomatoes and then add the cheese, a bit of cheese on top.
We're gonna have a cheese layer, are we?
Yeah, I love cheese. As you all know, you can see me that I love cheese. Okay, I'll put a bit of sun-dried tomatoes.
These look to be perfect single portion pieces.
Mm.
You might, if you're really hungry, you might even be able to eat 2. If you're really hungry, you'd eat all 4. And just making sure you separate them out when you put them on the pizza rather than one clump in the middle.
Yeah.
So if I was making a pizza myself, I would have to have mushrooms on it.
Yeah,
And
I
probably
love
want,
mushrooms as well.
I'd probably want peppers as well. Probably red or yellow rather than green.
Yeah, I love the red pepper more than the yellow. The yellow is my favorite. The green is not really for the taste bitter.
Yeah. Green's better in sort of things you cook slower, I find.
Yeah. So that's about it. I'm going to put it in the oven now.
Ooh. Just a final sprinkle of mozzarella on top of all of those yummy toppings.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of questions that have kind of come through, which I will ask you once the pizza is in the oven.
Okay. We're going to put it for 15 minutes.
So that was 15 minutes in the oven. So
Yeah.
one of the questions we've got here, we've got lots of people saying, I really like basil and sun-dried tomatoes. That's good. Unfortunately, we, again, cannot email pizza. It doesn't turn out too well. And if we posted it, it would be a bit sad and soggy by the time it got there. So what's the best flour, self-raising or plain? So we've got plain flour for our recipe.
You can use self-raising. I think you can use self-raising and then just don't add the
Baking powder.
Baking powder, yeah.
So Aisha's just cutting up the rest of them because I think she might be making a few more pizzas for us.
Yeah.
And do just keep... Oh, Maxine says, what's wrong with green peppers?
Well, for me, there's nothing wrong. Like I said, they taste bitter. That's the only reason I don't like. If I'm cooking them, yes, but not eating them raw. Eating them raw, they're just bitter.
So there's nothing wrong with green peppers.
Them.
That's personal choice. Like the fact that some of us like
pineapple,
and other people don't like pineapple. And I'm not getting involved in the argument on Facebook because it's getting a little bit heated, like it is in the kitchen.
Right.
And one of the other comments we've got here is Ines says that vegan cheese doesn't tend to work as well. It's a little bit sad.
I've never tried vegan cheese, so...
No, I've used dairy-free cheese and I will say it doesn't melt quite as well.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So we're going to leave Aisha here doing the last bits of the cooking us some more pizzas, and I'm going to spin us around towards Anna and Jennifer, who are going to introduce themselves. I just have to get myself to the right side of the camera. Oh, I've locked it so it doesn't spin. And here we go, round and round and round and round and round and round and round we go. So hello, Anna and Jennifer. Do introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm one of the outreach and progression officers here at Women Vision.
And I'm Anna, and I'm the other half of the time gang. I'm also an outreach and progression officer. And together we go out and see people.
And today we are talking about films, and the skies have lightened and the rain has eased off, which is really nice.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of really mean questions for you, and I'm sure some of our members will chip in with a few more. First question is, what is your favourite film of all time? What's the one you'll go back to time after time after time after time?
I really have two.
Okay, you're allowed
So
to.
I'm allowed. Yeah, I have like an A and a AA. So my favourite, which I love watching and which is always on telly all the time, because I really love the actor John Candy. So I love Uncle Buck.
Mm-hmm.
I just like it's just light-hearted, and you can just sit down like a day like this. It's horrible out. Well, it's not horrible. It's raining, but you have a cup of tea. You have your little nibbles and you watch Uncle Buck and you don't, there's no thinking, you watch the storyline, it's very easy, and I like the comedy of it. I just like him, I think he's a great actor.
So is that your A or your AA?
So that's my A.
Okay.
Now my AA is because I love Steve Martin.
Mm-hmm.
He's very comedy. So my first one, my all-time one favourites are comedy. So it would be Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Michael Caine. And I just love that he plays, they're con artists really. And he pretends that he's this person who's a veteran and he's in a wheelchair, and Michael Caine pretends that he's some kind of specialist in whatever disability Steve Martin has. But there's a bit when he whips his legs to say that he hasn't got any feeling in it, and Steve Martin's face is such, it just says it all. So for me, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, that's me, AA.
Okay, Anna, same question.
I actually have two.
Well, you're allowed to as well, because Jennifer was.
Yeah, I have two. I really, really like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first one.
I'll try not to sing the tune.
And that's my A. And my AA has got to be Armageddon.
Okay.
With the oil-driven, I just think that was such a good film. They managed to mix space, which I love, with action, and it was just done really, really well. And it wasn't kind of the sickly kind of tragedy film. It was just, I just think they did it extremely well.
See, I prefer Deep Impact to Armageddon, and they were released the same year.
I actually also, I was allowed to say Deep Impact as well. Those two films are probably about the same. Both of them I really, really love. And again, I think they just made a really good job on both of them.
So some of our favourite films that come through from members are Dirty Dancing, and I presume that's the original rather than the sequel. What can I do that one? Nobody puts baby in the corner, is my quote from that one. And the other one is Blade Runner.
Oh.
Yes.
And that is origami unicorns in Blade Runner.
Okay, alright. I'm gonna add a little add-on.
Okay.
Which is
You want a little extra.
I don't usually go to the cinema because they're very limited in what they do actually have in terms of like audio description and stuff.
Yeah.
But I have to say, when Black Panther came out, I went to the cinema, and I went to the cinema, and I lived in the cinema. So I love my comedies, but Black Panther made me love going to the cinema even more.
Did you see that audio described?
No.
No? Okay. So have you seen a film in the cinema that was audio described? That's a question to both of you.
I haven't, because
Okay.
I actually lost my sight in 15/16,
Mm-hmm.
and I have been to the cinema since then, but I don't think it was audio described. It was more of a musical, and although the visual was really brilliant, the singing kind of told the story, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Cats. The singing told the story, and audio described it, if you see what I mean.
Ah, okay. So we've got a few more comments here. So I've just got to get up a little bit. There've been lots of comments scrolling through.
It's really good to hear.
Maxine's got more than two, and I'm going to read them all out, but you're only allowed up to 2.5. So Maxine has said Grease, the first one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All the Star Wars. So that's what we're all.
Yeah.
Maxine, you're already up to 10 films.
That's cheating.
Steel Magnolias, Men in Black,
Oh,
Black Panther,
yes.
and The Philadelphia Story. I only saw The Philadelphia Story about 3 years ago, and I just found it amazing. Jim has got two favourites, Spartacus and The Vikings.
Okay.
And yes, Jim, we will be writing a list of ingredients once we've finished so that you can have a go at making the pizzas. And I can smell them as well. They do smell really great. We've also got The Pelican Brief with Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Lots of Black Panthers. Oh, do I have to answer my favourite film now? Oh.
Yes, Catherine, we'd like to know. Come on. You're allowed 2.5.
I'm allowed 2.5, am I? Oh, so I will say I'm a massive Marvel fan, but I wouldn't put in any of my favourites.
You're a
Massive Marvel
Marvel.
fan.
massive Marvel.
If I was going for something that I've watched over and over and over, it's probably Dune. Frank Herbert's Dune. And then I also like Hot Fuzz with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant.
I do like comedy, I do like sci-fi.
Yeah.
So my next film, because that was your favourite film of all time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have a favourite film now. So do you have a favourite film of the moment?
No, I mean, I was never actually a great Marvel fan,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to say, I went to watch Endgame plenty of times with my children, because I wasn't getting into it. But I watched it on the plane, coming back on one of my trips, and I actually got the storyline. So I kind of like all the characters in Marvel. I don't know, for some reason, from Endgame I've turned into a Marvel fan.
Wow, we've converted another person.
Yeah, so that's...
The only problem is if you come into Marvel late, you do have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah,
So, same question to you, Anna.
My favourite film for lockdown was The Darkest Hour.
It was a very good film. I really liked it.
I learned a lot of kind of the history of the early war, because I didn't realise Churchill had actually had such a battle with Parliament to actually go to war in the first place. But my favourite bit of the film is when Churchill goes on the underground, because he's never been on the underground before, and it's subtle humour, and this very well-to-do, titled gentleman goes on the underground with all the commoners, all the new people going to work, and asks what their opinion is. And I think that little bit is just a fantastic bit of film.
It is. Darkest Hour was brilliant. Did you realise you were watching Gary Oldman in the main role?
Did I realise?
Did you realise that the person who was playing Churchill was Gary Oldman?
No, I didn't.
No, I thought he was so good. He embodied the part so
Yes.
much you couldn't see the actor, which I was really impressed with.
It was a really good film, actually. Yeah.
You've
So-
got that on my to-do list now. I've got that on my to-do list.
So we had a few more comments through. So Faye says she loves Dune, but it's the book, not the film. I have also read the book, Faye, don't worry.
Okay.
I've read all of the Dune films going on, Dune
I
books.
must have watched these Dune films.
We've got The Sound of Music. It's an absolute favourite. I would agree with that one, and that will come into one of our later questions as well. I think we've got The Martian. That was a really good film. Again, I would say
yes,
the
that
book of The
was-
Martian was better than the film.
Really, I actually did. That's one of my other films that I guess I really loved in the last couple of years. I watched it about 2 or 3 times. I think it was a very well-made film. And there was almost a kind of, you could see that really happening, actually. So yeah, in the future.
Then we've got Anna Marie says, every Jackie Chan film.
Wow.
That's a
Rush Hour.
big. Yeah, I do like Rush Hour. And Odette says there are some books that have been converted into films, but she's not dared to go and see them, and Dune is one of them. She loved the book but haven't seen the film. I would say, as someone who watched the film, then read the book, the film was really good, the book was better. But I can imagine if you've read the book and then watched the film, you might not feel quite the same way. And sort of if we're talking about books and films, you have to mention Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's got to be one of the films on the top there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would say that when they made them into films, they made them so sympathetically that even though they missed sections out, they didn't ruin the story. But that's from my perspective.
Yeah.
Feel free to chip in and...
But I think this is the problem with these very, very long books when they make some films. If they made the films with every single bit in it, it wouldn't just be a 3-hour film. You'd be watching it 24 hours later. So I guess they have to be very sort of selective and sensitive to what they do and don't put in.
Mm-hmm. So, next question. Is there a film that you have a strong connection with, that really speaks to you?
I don't think anybody would like my answer, but I shall give it.
I want to hear your answer.
So I really do like black and white movies, and I really love Betty Davis. I just think she just embodies that era, and just like you were speaking about, when an actor or an actress, the part, you can't distinguish the person from the part they're playing.
Yeah.
And I think she was very, very, and plus I like that kind of character when she played. But one of them was Jezebel.
Okay.
And I also like All About Eve, because it's those characters that are really kind of, it's a bit like Alfred Hitchcock, those thrillers, those storylines.
So you like the golden age of cinema, as they would call it.
As in I can see the characters and what they're trying to say, rather than me living through it or really resonating with something. But I can see that thread of that storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mean question, Anna.
What film have I really connected with? I think I really connected with Avatar.
Okay.
Because it's a very British film in a way. It was a very, there was this army, they were attacking this planet, but the graphics, if you have the sight to see them, were actually extraordinarily beautiful. So there's this kind of these beautiful people who are being attacked, being somebody trying to take over, and I think that's very, in a way, if you have sight loss, that does happen to you.
Yeah.
There's often this very beautiful person inside is kind of lost because we see the sight loss first. We see the minerals, or we see what we want to take, and we miss the real beauty there.
I'm going to ask Aisha a quick question, because I heard the oven door open.
Yes.
Do we still have to wait a little bit longer?
No, a few more minutes.
So it's a few more minutes to our pizza, so Aisha's still keeping an eye on them in the kitchen, don't worry.
But I think going on from what Anna said, the films that really resonated with me, like Daredevil.
Yeah.
Because when I've talked to people, as people know, sometimes I can get a bit confrontational.
No.
They all say Jenny, we remind me of Daredevil, just because of the sight loss. But I think also I like X-Men, because to me, it's looking at different issues to do with disabilities. Even though they're saying we have special powers, I just took it as something that said people are different.
Yeah.
So, resonating with what you were saying, Anna, about Avatar, it was really speaking to me about how people can use different talent, skills and abilities that they have inside, and that kind of really speaks to
And
me.
the other film that really comes to mind for me is the Fantastic Four. Because, they've all got these things that they're made to suppress. But they've all got these abilities, and often I think if you have sight loss or any disability, you often have skills that you're forced to suppress because society cannot accept you doing them with your disability.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So I'm just going to have a little bit of time to do a few more comments. So Odette thinks that both Lord of the Rings books and films are great. So she's in our plan with Lord of the Rings. Ines thinks that Darkest Hour is a really interesting, and she loves films about politics and history.
Yeah.
Susan has mentioned Hotel Rwanda. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And then we've got Independence Day as something that really resonated.
Yes.
Because as a visually impaired person, you need to fight for your independence with yourself as well as with the world around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got some very profound things being passed through.
Okay.
Maxine likes All About Eve as well.
Oh, there we go.
So we've got also Lions for Lambs, which is directed by Robert Redford. It's an excellent film which makes you think about meaningful work and purpose, and it's also very political. And Odette loved the way that everything is connected in Avatar. And yeah, it's the Avatar is just seeing the person. Everything we've talked about is seeing the person, not the sight loss.
Yeah.
And with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, you found a link, a connection with them, and that's really interesting. So my last question, and this is to all of our members as well: have you ever visited or found yourself in a place where they had filmed a very famous scene from a film?
Personally, for me, no.
Okay.
Well, I've been to an actual scene, but I really, really love Disney.
Mhm.
And I've been to Disneyland in Florida.
Ooh.
So, although I haven't actually been to where they've actually filmed the films or actually done the animation,
Yeah.
I've been and sort of seen it brought to real life.
Mhm.
So in Florida.
I think we're living in a time, because I think I was having this talk with Glenn the other day, that it's like we're living in a movie time like Demolition Man. Because you know we've got the pizzas, you're not allowed to eat pizzas on the top.
Ooh. Sorry, I just looked behind myself.
You're not allowed to eat pizzas anymore, everything's clean living at the top. And the pizzas are eaten by the people that are like left at the bottom, you know.
Oh, these are very healthy pizzas.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, it's just pizza. Pizza's no longer around. So Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, and it's very clean at the top, and then everybody lives underground. So I'm very familiar with
So
pizza.
here's my question: have you ever been to George Street in Croydon?
Yes.
Yes.
You've been somewhere they have filmed quite a lot of films.
Oh, really?
If they need an industrial-looking background, they quite often use Croydon.
Right.
Okay.
And Peep Show, the TV show series, was filmed somewhere around here as well. So I'm going to say I was lucky enough to be in Salzburg, and I was in one of the gardens, and I looked up and I went, I recognise that fountain, and it was the fountain from The Sound of Music, where they run around the fountain.
Okay.
And of course, you're in Salzburg. You like The Sound of Music. The fountain's there. You've got to run around it, haven't you?
You mean Catherine ran around it?
Catherine ran around the fountain. And then off to one side from there were the stairs where they jumped up when they did Do Re Mi.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, you're in a nice big group. Again, you have to jump up and down the stairs whilst singing the song, or Catherine has to jump up and down the stairs while singing the song.
That's really interesting, because how did you find it that you were actually in the same place?
So this was when I was at school, and I was on a choir trip. So we were being taken, so we were lucky enough that we performed in Salzburg Cathedral, and then we went into the gardens, and one of my music teachers went, you do know this is where they film Sound of Music? And he went, that's the fountain. So big group, 30 of us running around a fountain, and then taking it in turns to jump up and down the stairs.
Wow.
So sometimes it's about someone else being with you who's done the research, sometimes it's about doing it yourself. So we've got a couple more points. We've got lots of comments coming through. I can't keep up with you. So Odette says she's been to New York.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was, she said she knew the film, she felt like she knew New York because it looked so familiar. Ines has been to Venice, and that's The Tourist was filmed there with Angelina Jolie. And then, who's tasting today? Well, Anna and Jennifer are sitting here, and I will say Aisha has made 4 that are finished and 4 that are still in the oven. So anyone who comes down to the kitchen, there are still mini pizzas if you make it down here before we get too hungry. And then Anna Marie says the bill was also filmed in Croydon.
Yeah.
And Killing Eve, they were filming by the Nestle building, the George Arcade. So we live in Croydon. We actually have been a lot of places they filmed, but we don't know that they filmed.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect point to have a little bit of a break, because I can smell pizza behind me. So would you mind bringing it out for...
Yeah. You want me to put it in the plate?
Yes. Do you need cutlery?
Yeah.
Well, with a pizza?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
No.
Okay, I'll take one and let you take the other one up. So you're not allowed to eat yet. I'll leave it on the edge of the table for you, Anna. And then I'm going to bring out, and these pizzas look amazing.
Thank you.
That's okay. So you can taste test when you are ready.
Okay. Aisha?
Yes.
If you want cutlery, that's fine. We will bring some over.
Smell very delicious.
I can see it's got lovely stringy cheese.
Lovely.
It's absolutely delicious.
So, and can you tell it is yeast free? Is my biggest question.
No.
No.
Okay, so we will make sure to post this recipe. It's actually from the BBC Good Food Good Food website. I'll post a link to it. It's really nice and easy to do because it didn't take us too long, but we do have the wonderful Aisha, and I will be sure to have a bit of pizza in a moment once I finish talking. So I'm going to be mean and ask Aisha,
Yes.
what's your favourite film?
My favorite film. I have 2.
Everyone's got to.
I have what is it called with Joe Pesci? I don't know if you know that one with the lawyer. He was a lawyer. And my cousin Vinny.
My cousin Vinny. Okay.
I love comedies. And the other one is with Danny DeVito and what's the name of this? Is it?
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, it's not. It's like, I think it's not other people's money. It's something about, I can't remember the name.
So anyone who can remember the
I can't
film.
remember the name.
So
Danny DeVito. It's with Danny DeVito and Bette Midler. It's a
Bette
comedy as well.
Midler.
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
But did she play his wife?
She plays his wife, and apparently he was. Do you know the one?
No, but this is a different one. This is on the Roald Dahl,
Okay.
where they play with the young girl.
Matilda.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But it's not that one you're talking about.
We'll have to look into that one for you,
Yeah, if
Aisha.
anyone knows it, I keep forgetting that name, but I love that movie. So he plays Bette Midler was his wife, and then she was kidnapped, and then they asked the husband Danny DeVito to pay ransom for her so they can release her. I think about $1 million.
Wow.
Because he was so rich but was mean at the same time. He refused to pay the ransom. And obviously he wanted to get rid of her, so that was his only way to get rid of her without him not paying the ransom.
Yeah.
And then if he doesn't, and then they'll kill her, and then obviously he'll be free out of the marriage.
Yeah.
And eventually he didn't pay the money, but they let her out, and she was so angry, and
It was so funny.
So we've got a question of tell us a bit more about this pizza, because a lot of people are a little lot jealous. So is it crispy?
It's very crispy.
And gooey cheesy, I can see that.
Yes.
And I guess you've got the sun dried tomato sort of bursting flavour.
And the basil.
It's really delicious.
It is.
So how many people are going to have a go at making this pizza? Because it looks like most of it is store-covered ingredients.
Yeah, it was very simple ingredients. But the pizza is absolutely delicious, and it doesn't. You might as well make it yourself, because the ones that you buy that are frozen or little cheap brandy ones don't taste the same.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. You know what's in this one. You buy the ingredients.
You buy the ingredients.
And if you've got any allergies, you can make it to exactly what you require, rather than worrying about anything. So I am being really jealous. I know as soon as I hit end on this, I'm definitely having a pizza from behind me. And we're making Maxine incredibly hungry.
Don't worry, Maxine, we're thinking of you.
We're thinking of all of our members. Ines would like to say there is an excellent Italian film called I'm in Love with Tilda Swinton. And it's about love and other big themes, but their food cooking senses are presented so beautifully, and it's worth watching. And Anna, we'd like to know from you about the pizza as well. And then
the pizza is absolutely wonderful. My fingers are totally messy now.
we can get you some tissues, don't worry.
No, it's really, really, really delicious. You don't miss the not being meat at all. It's lovely and crunchy, which is something you often don't get in the ready-mades. And yeah, I just highly recommend it. As I would all of Asha's cooking.
I'm just going to spin it around so that we can see these pizzas up close.
Yeah, about the movie that I was talking about with Danny DeVito and Bette Midler. It's called Ruthless People.
There we are.
Ruthless People.
So scoop the camera a little bit closer and point it down a bit. There are our two little mini pizzas on a plate. I'll leave it here so you can appreciate the beauty that is Aisha's cooking. The other four are still sitting in the oven, just making sure they are nice and fully cooked. But they do look very appetising. And I think we're going with artisan pizzas, because that allows us to say they're much better, because they look really great. And that's all we have time for. Or does anyone else have any questions first about any of the pizzas? How to do that? Any film questions? Because otherwise I will tell you what's happening next week, which I'm really excited about.
I think what I would say about the pizza is that these ingredients are delicious, but this is a recipe which you could then do this one to get used to it, but then you can start experimenting with your own.
Of course, yeah, you can use any,
mushrooms, you can
any topping of your choice. Yeah.
So it's one of those recipes that, it will go as far as your imagination will take you.
Yeah. We thought we'd do a nice simple one, and feel free when you experiment, please let us know. Tell us what your favourite toppings when you had a play with it was.
You might like pineapple.
Do you like pineapple? Don't you like pineapple? The other one that's a little bit, some people say yes, some people will say no, is sweet corn.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
I
don't
like
mind
sweet corn.
Yeah.
But I know some people would say very much they do not like sweet corn on their pizza.
Well, there you go.
So I'm going to leave it focused on the pizza whilst I tell you what's happening next week, because they look so yummy I don't want to take it off. So next Thursday, we are delighted to invite you to a discussion of the documentary The Terry Fragments. It's by a filmmaker and scholar, Dr. Katalin Briller from Bournemouth University. The film is an up-close documentary about Terry Hopwood Jackson, who is a blind painter, and he's not let his sight loss dictate his life. Terry's home contains a treasure trove of fascinating paintings, drawings and notebooks, and the Terry Fragments is part of a research project led by Dr. Barilla to explore the effects of social stigma and media representations of visual impairment. There's a short survey to complete before you watch the film, and then next week is the discussion with Dr. Barilla himself, and hopefully we will also be having Terry join us as well, which is really exciting. So if you'd like a link to the survey and the film, please do contact us and we'll send them. We're just not allowed to post it directly on the internet. So thank you very much for your time. And everyone is saying that these pieces look amazing and we are to all enjoy them once we've finished. And thank you so much for your time, Aisha.
Thank you for
and
watching.
Thank you
Can
for...
I just say something very, very quickly before you go, Catherine?
You can.
If any member needs help to complete the survey, don't be afraid to ask. Because I know we did it with one member earlier on and they did need a little bit of help with some of the questions meant. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay, that's fine. So if you need help with the survey, again, contact us as well.
Yeah.
We will help you with the survey. We will help you get to the link if that's a problem. Just let us know and we'll help you as much as possible. So thank you so much for your time this week. And we look forward to seeing you again shortly, or to seeing you next week when we will be quizzing Dr. Kathleen Barilla. So, goodbye.
Bye.